Welcome on board the new Dufour 560. This is the latest model of the Grand Large range, and I would just want to make sure you're gonna fully understand all the features that it's showing for this new range. We start from the aft area. I'm just standing on the big platform that can allow us to have an extra, let's say, meter when you're moored, or it can be used in order to lift the tender that can be installed in this ample garage, partly inflatable. And we have a predisposition here for a pump, so in case the customer wants the option of the dinghy, we can actually fit the pump, a system of rollers and a windlass in order to lift it up and down easily without a real effort in order to do it, because it's usually one of the most complicated things to put on board. Still looking at this transom area, we decided, compared to previous boats, to really create an ample sandbed in the aft part, and at the same time to fully exploit this fantastic space to have a second galley with a sink and with a barbecue. So as you can see, we have here, I can easily cook, I can easily prepare everything, and we have a fridge in the cockpit. These three elements allows the owner to have guests on board, to really enjoy the life outside, and at the same time not to constrain someone to be below while the others are still enjoying the last part of the day with an aperitif or something. So this ample platform and this transom area are certainly two of the key features that really want to stress the concept of living the life outboard, because this is where 80% of the time our owners spend their time on board. So now we move on and we enter into the cockpit with this wide and very comfortable steps, because they have to allow everyone to feel comfort and secure in going and coming on board. As you can see, we have, let's say, maximize the space of the cockpit. And we have the typical Dufour Bain de Soleil is called. It's a sunbed which allows to have an extra sunbed on the port side, and we still leave the starboard area empty with a big and spacious locker to always have a simple corridor to go in and out of the boat. The cockpit table is standard, and below you can see what we were referring to, which is the cockpit fridge. So this is really the most used and convivial area of the boat, where we can fully enjoy the time with our guests. Coming to the steering system, we have two steering wheels with from Lumar. With all the system is Lumar, with a 110 Volvo Penta engine standard and the possibility of 150. This is the electronic lever that can certainly help customer of big boats to feel to have a better and easier feel on the throttle compared to the typical lever, which is posed usually in the bottom part of the instruments panel. In this part of the Comings, you can really install all the electronic equipment you want. So you can have additional GPS, 3 data instruments, bow thruster control, plenty of, here we see the bow thruster, but we had customers that can really customize the position of the instruments according to their needs. So they can really decide, I want it here, there, and off they go. They customize their own electrical panel, which is a sort of a board of instruments. The same can be done on the port side, so completely symmetrical and completely accessible from both sides. The tender area has a second access, which is from the cockpit as well. So it's a wide opening where you can fit eventually also sails or extra gear in case you need it. And this is exactly the standard configuration which is coming with the cockpit deck and the cockpit floor and the cockpit and the aft platform. While the side decks and the coach roof are optional. Moving forward, we can see the layout of the winches, and we can for sure understand that from my position, which is the steering position, you have the full control of all the instruments on board, of all the gear on board, because here you can have both main sheet and Genoa control, and this certainly allows the maximum control with an effortless approach, because you can really sail a 56-footer all alone. One of the characteristics of the sail plan is that first of all it's coming with a full button mainsail to guarantee performance, and at the same time to make sure that it's easier to pack the main when it's dropping from the mast, without the need of a furling mast or a furling mainsail, which is never, let's say, performance-wise the right choice. The second thing is that we can go and double check on the mast that the boom is inclined forward. So I'm here, and compared to any other boat of this size, the boom is below my shoulder, which allows me to really be able to pack the mainsail and do it easily without really the need to climb up to the mast. This is really one of the features that we started integrating from the 500 and 410, and has been heavily appreciated by the market, because really is a way of allowing customer really to have an effortless approach in their use of the boat. We move slightly forward and we can see the second innovation of the Grand Large range, which is the self-tacking jib. So simplicity of the sail plan is a key feature in order, as we said, to be able to sail a 56-footer all alone. How do you do it? With the self-tacking. But we didn't reduce the sail area, because that would have been too easy. We simply increased the height of the mast to have a more performance oriented, let's say, aspect ratio, so a higher and taller mast, and at the same time the same surface area that would have get if we were going for overlapping Genoas, which makes the maneuver a bit more complicated. So this is really equalizing the performance for a simpler use of the boat. We can have anyway, and we add them, the side rails on the coach roof side, because the idea of the sail plan layout is that any customer can choose to improve their performance in any possible way. i.e., it means that you can have either a Genoa 110%, or if you really want to do the Atlantic crossing, like we are preparing a couple of boats for that purpose, we can fit a staysail just behind the skipper bulkhead, and we can have the self-tacking mounted on the staysail and a 110% Genoa. And then on the front, and we can go forward, on the front we can see that we have a fixed bowsprit that makes life a lot easier when we want to use a code 0. Let's say that the evolution of the foresail, like the code 0 or code 1 in these years, has been incredible. So you can really have a very performance sail that can allow you to really point higher and keep an optimum performance in light condition. At the same time, because it's a furlable one, in case you are going downwind and you are still alone, you can still use it as a sort of a downwind sail. You can furl it, jibe it, and then unfurl it. So maximum safety with an effortless approach. This is exactly the same way the Open 60, so the solo sailor sail plan, are designed and conceived. Looking at from this perspective, you can see that all the boat is flush deck. So it's we try to keep everything as clean and neat as possible, but at the same time we want to add the maximum natural light inside. So we have this wide plexi just behind the mast that brings a lot of natural light to the whole saloon area. And then here we have plenty of lights for the owner cabin, because we have 4 separated hatches that can guarantee ventilation and natural light during the day, which is very important. Another interesting feature of the hull compared to the, for example, still our production, is that this is the first boat with an integrated bulwark. So you can see my feet is still below the height of the hull and deck. This makes sure that we have a higher stanchion, so a safer pulpit and control lines, and at the same time it's also a safer point, because all around the boat we have a robust wall that prevent us from falling off board. So this is I think most of the features of the deck, and we can go and see the inside. So now we are down below, and this is a very big 56, because the layout, the way the boat was conceived, was really meant to maximize the sense of space. So the saloon area, it's in the widest and biggest portion of the hull. That's why it is, and it gives this huge sense of space. And I'm staying on a lower step in the galley area. The galley area, it's a real galley where we have plenty of space for storage. Underneath here we have 2 separate levels for pantries. Plenty of bottles or anything you need, and extra storage space behind the working area, for example. Lockers, and quite wide, with specific support in order to fit and keep all the food and quite stable in place. As you can see, we have separated what we call the hot area with the cold area. So this is where we do the cooking, where we do the cleaning and the washing, and this is the area where we have, let's say, the cold area. We have the fridge. The fridge is 220 liter, so it's like a home fridge. And we can have in this part of the galley, say, plenty of optional. We can have a wine cooler in place of these drawers, and a washing machine down here in place of this extra storage space. Some customer, they also, in place of the wine cooler and in place of the storage, they also wanted the washing machine in order to prevent from losing one head, because otherwise the optional is going to the head. So really, this galley can be customized to any of the customer needs according to the way they want to use the boat. These 2 areas are another 2 interesting storage space. This can be a bottle. It's a standard. It's like that. It's for bottles, but you can have a lifting system with a pivoting arm that can allow us to have the TV, a 32-inch screen, and that can be seen from both sides, from this part of the sofa but also from the other one. Or we can have a wider and bigger TV, 40-inch screen, which is going simply up and down, and then can be used for the same purpose but on this part. As you can see, when we were talking on the outside about natural lights, this is really not missing. We have 4 very big port lights on the hull, fixed port lights. We have this super wide hatches, fixed hatches, that really brings lots of natural lights and vitalize the natural wood that Dufour is using. This is one of the main characteristics of our brand, and we are keeping it quite strongly. And this is, for example, the interior in oak. It's a Canadian oak, and the other option is the mahogany. So we have a more classical version, which is the darker one, and this is, let's say, a bit more contemporary. So moving here, we decided to have, as we said, a big saloon area with a table. The table is, of course, openable, fully openable, and can be extended to that size. And the seat, it's movable in order to maximize the passage and the space around the table. On the other hand, while you have finished your lunch or dinner, this one can go back, and the same table can be lowered down in order to keep the saloon a bit more convivial and a bit more free of space, instead of having a fixed table higher up that you have to turn around, and it can be used as a coffee table or something like that. On the opposite side, we increased on the width of the sofa to have a bit more a lounge concept, and at the same time we have extended part of the seat on this side to have more a chaise longue sofa. Still lots of functionality, so plenty of bottle holders, and we're moving again towards the owner seat, which is the chart table. So here we have really developed a big, wide and important chart table, because this is the place of the owner, and this is where we just let him do his business, his daily business, and he can talk with the guests, because from that position you can talk to any other seat on the boat. So that's really the place, as we say, for the owner, which he loves to spend time. These lockers are, in reality, they're not lockers, but they're simply covers for the instruments panel. So here we have the predisposition for the GPS that can be fitted here, and then with an arm it can be fixed in order to find the right position for the right angle to read it. Electrical panel is integrated in here, and still that part is dedicated for all the optionals. When we talk about option, we have the possibility of having an 8 kilowatt generator, air conditioning, heating system, and extra service batteries or extra battery charger, all the sort of options you can look for a boat like this, where customers have different needs and different use, so they can really fit whatever they want. For example, water maker, it's another typical example. Moving towards the front of the boat, we arrive in the area which was developed, was the mostly, let's say, developed area, because we design not one but 3 different layouts for the customer. So this is what we call the classical island bed in the front. Where we have the toilet on this side and a big shower on the other. The advantage of this solution for some owners is that it has the widest possible bed with the front head, where you can sleep with the head in the front. Sorry. The others have been developed around a different concept. The concept was that we wanted to separate the space between what we said the sail locker, or that can be transformed as a skipper cabin, or so we want to separate the skipper from the owner. So the other version is showing the typical front head. So we have a shower on port side and the toilet on starboard side, and in the front we have a big and wide sink with a wall-fitted mixer tap. So this layout allows us to have to fully exploit similar concept as the dining area, to fully exploit the widest part of the cabin, where now we have the two volumes for the toilet and for the shower, and we use it for the bed. In one way, the bed is on the side, slightly smaller, but still with a double access. On the other, we have the bed fitted to the aft bulkhead completely, and with a lateral access. So this is really has been an incredible and very important exercise for Dufour in order to design 3 different alternatives for the owner choice, in order to really decide what's the best solution for his use and for his ideal boat. Going back, we have 2 symmetrical and identical cabins. That even in this case, there's nothing really to complain with, because we have lockers all around, and extra space on the side. The bed is almost 2 meters in width as well, so in case someone wants to sleep transversally, they can even do it. And as you can see, we have a direct access to the toilet, where we can have a toilet and a shower, easy to access, and that allows you to have all the privacy you need. Even in these sort of options, I mean, if you want or you don't want the door in the aft heads accessing directly to the cabins or to the saloon area, all these things can be customized according to the owner needs. Going back to the stairs, we have 2 things. One is the classical, it's a classical caravan from Dufour. So it's an extra storage space for all the bottles that you want to bring on board during your cruising time. And just behind it we have the frontal access to the engine room. The engine room has 3 different access. One is in the front and 2 one per side. We mount Volvo since almost over 20 years, and the standard engine is 110 and the optional engine is 150 horsepower. So our visit is finished, and just to summarize briefly the main concept of the 560: simplicity of using, keeping the maximum performance on the outside, flush deck style, which is one of our characteristics, and still the possibility of having a tender garage with an inflatable deflatable pump for the tender area, the plancha sink and the fridge in the cockpit, so a second galley for the life outside, and the possibility of commuting the sail locker into a skipper cabin. This is for the outside. When we talk about the inside, once more, we said maximum sense of space, maximum use of the volume and natural lights, and maximum attention to the customer needs in the design and definition of the owner cabin. We have 3 different layouts, and so the owner can really choose according to his needs. On top of it, we have multiple choice of fabrics, even floorboards, carpets, and the choice of the wood. We can still have oak or Moabi according to a more traditional or a more avant-garde version as the one we show today. So this is it from Dufour. Thank you for the visit.